Hi, everyone. I am so excited I have the last presentation on a Friday. Isn't that fun for me? So I know as entrepreneurs, I know for myself, this is usually my nap schedule. Like, who's with me that takes a little nap around this time in the afternoon? Because I work throughout the night. And if, like, I forget what your name was I just presented. Becky, congratulations on being able to quit your job. I think I jumped out of my seat when you said that, because that is so exciting. And when we find that balance of like work and sleep and all that, let me know, because I'm sure I'm just like a lot of you, I literally work throughout the night. But anyway, so again, my name is Pam Emmil. Here I am. Let's see, this is my little clicker, and she just read my introduction for me, so thank you for taking that off my website. So again, my name is Pam Emmil. I am a loving wife, a mother of 2 adult daughters. I'm a driven entrepreneur. I love to hustle. My mission is to break the stigma of mental illness and addiction. I have overcome opioid use disorder. I became heavily addicted to pain medication after a hysterectomy. That hysterectomy went horribly wrong, and I needed 6 surgeries in a 2-year time span down in Minneapolis, and that led me to a 10-year addiction. And if you are yourself going through addiction or know anybody, it's not a pretty thing. So what you see here is not what I went through over the past 10 years. I just celebrated my 4th year of being clean and sober on February 10th. So thank you. So when God gives you an idea, you go with it. You just, no matter how embarrassing or like, oh, I don't know if someone's going to like this idea, you just go with it. So that's why I do what I do, and I'll tell you a little bit more again. I designed the 5-second rule bracelet as a mindfulness tool. I designed it originally for myself, this gemstone bracelet that I have on my wrist. I designed it when I started my recovery. It's just made out of simple gemstones called pink zebra jasper stones. And those stones help with stress and anxiety. Who doesn't need help with stress and anxiety, right? And so what I did is, I'm a huge follower of Mel Robbins and the 5-second rule. So I simply touch each bead as like a second. I just say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I have this little light up bead. It's called an aurora stone. It just lights up. And when I saw this bead, I just wanted my inner light to shine inside. So that's why I chose that stone. And that's where I stop. I touch that stone, and that's where I'll stop, take a deep breath. If I'm thinking a negative thought, change it to a positive thought. So that's the basis behind the bracelet. I am on a mission to help people of all ages understand how they can use the different healing gemstones that I offer as a tool to improve mental health. And again, this is my logo. Malibu Agency would be so proud of me. I have a logo, so there's my logo. My daughter created my logo for me. And there are a lot of websites out there where you can get your free logo. And just Google it. That's when I started my business. I've had a couple other businesses before I settled with this one. I'm the type of girl people will come up to me and go, so Pam, what are you doing now? Like, oh, well, now I'm selling this, now I'm doing this, but this is my true passion, and this is what I'm here to do. So that's my logo. Let's see. Okay, maybe I'll go this way. This is my first time using my clicker. Okay. So what I'm gonna help you with, I hope, is just gonna show you my journey of being a vendor. How many of you have been a vendor and doing vendor shows less than 5 years? 0 to 5. Good, so you're with me. Okay, anyone 5 to 10? Awesome, 10 to 15? Awesome, 15, 20. Everyone, round of applause. Okay, that's awesome. As you know, as a vendor, we need stamina, so congratulations. Okay, so let's see, I started in 2019, September. My first vendor show was at Apple Fest. That's at Bismarck Cancer Center Foundation fundraiser. I continue to do vendor shows for the remainder of the year. The year of 2020, the year of COVID hits, and everyone knows that year. Despite shows canceling, I found plenty of vendor shows to attend. So far, 2021 was the best year. It's the beginning of the year was slow, and right now is my slow time for sales. And then my business changed in July for the better, and I'll tell you why. And then in 2022, I'm ready to make it even a better year. I'm planning on maybe going over the border to Minnesota, South Dakota, So I'm really excited about this year ahead. click, and click. Okay, so here's my very first show in 2019. It was an outside show. I had my business, like I said before, my bracelets, I was Driven Diva Designs. I designed a paper planner. I was a kindergarten teacher for many years. I'm a retired kindergarten teacher. And used to make paper planners all the time to plan my activities. So my very first independent entrepreneurship job was I designed a paper planner. I sold the pages on Etsy. You could just design them, create them. I don't need to go into that business. I'm not going to do it. So I'm not even going to tell you what I did. So anyway, and then I have a Cricut machine. Who's got a Cricut machine? Oh, that's like a rabbit hole, that machine. I started creating leather earrings and necklaces, and I started creating t-shirts because all that vinyl stuff, it's so fun. So that's where you got Driven Diva Designs. And you can see behind me, I have pegboards, and I have a lot of earrings over there. And then on the other side, I have some sweatshirts where I did vinyl. And I don't know, I think I got some necklaces behind me. But then on this white rack up here, I had 25 Second Rule bracelets. That is what I started with. And the design was a little bit different. They had all different gemstones to start with. But I wanted to test and see, like, okay, do I have something here? So I talked to people about this 5-second rule bracelet that I had. I showed people, talked to people. And just at that show, people were like, oh my gosh, I love this idea. Yes, I know Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. And they were on board. I was like, okay. And guess what? I sold all 20 bracelets that weekend. Yay! That was like, okay, I gotta keep going here. Okay, so now my next vendor show. Now I'm going to the Bismarck Civic Center, AKA the Bismarck Event Center. That was like, okay, big time. Now I'm going into a big building. And it was like a pretty big show. That was the Junkin Cousins show. Who's gone to the Junkin Cousins show in Bismarck? Anybody? It's a really good show in the fall. So there you can see I have my boards again, and they're different color. I have a white board, I have a black pegboard. I've got my jewelry on the white boards, and then I've got the bracelets on the black board. Oh, and I guess I got some necklaces on the black board. See, you can kind of see them all over the place. Right now, I'm not really branded right now. I've got different colors kind of going on. Just kind of take note of what this train wreck looks like. It's what I started with, right? I have a little welcome sign. I have my little table. I have my little table for display and stuff. So that was my very first show. And then I was in a hotel. It was like a little Dear Widow weekend. And isn't it fun going to different vendor shows and trying to be conducive, like the sizing that you get, like somewhere like a nice 10 by 10, then an 8 by 10, and then a 10 by 6, and you're just like always trying to manipulate your furniture and stuff. So that's always fun. And then the next show I went to was a Jamestown vendor show, and on the other side of that was still all of the jewelry. And as you can see, the banner was that Driven Diva Designs. Okay, so that's still in 2019. And I was doing pretty good. I was traveling, and I was doing a couple $100 a show. I was like, yes, I'm making money. And then we come to just a couple months later, December of 19, for Pride of Dakota, the bracelet business exploded. So exploded meant I'm not just doing 20 bracelets, I'm not just doing one board of bracelets, now I've got 2 black boards of bracelets. So I'm pretty excited. And I still have my other jewelry. So now I have some things that, so people get to know who I am. I have a big vertical sign that says the 5-second rule. It clearly states what I'm there for. It's a mindfulness tool, healing gemstone bracelet to help with stress and anxiety. And then I have my t-shirt. I've got a little sign behind myself. I got my t-shirt at Vistaprint. If you guys order off, raise your hand if you order off of Vistaprint. Vistaprint is a great website to order your business cards, your products, postcards. I got my vinyl banners through Vistaprint. Get labels, and yes, I get my labels through Vistaprint as well. But here's a little trick about Vistaprint. So when I order my business cards, and I use the business card sizes to hang some of my charm bracelets. Say I need 500 cards, okay? I only ordered 250 because when you check out, it'll say, hey, do you want that card for like 2 cents? And I'm like, heck yeah. So that's a little way to save money on Vistaprint. Don't do a huge order, kind of like do like half your order, and then at the very end, it will always say, ooh, we'll add this for 75% off, so then you can get more product and save. That's just a little tidbit on the side. You're welcome. Okay, so there we are in 2019 for Pride of Dakota. And that show, I tell you, it was so awesome. I mean, Pride of Dakota people are awesome. I was next to the Coogan lady. I have never had Coogan before in my life. I'm a New Hampshire girl that moved to North Dakota, so this was just awesome. And we're awesome people to be with, right? These Pride of Dakota shows. So it was such an awesome experience. It was a great way to end the year of 2019. And yeah, and that bracelet sales, I think I ended up selling like 200 bracelets that weekend. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm big time. I was like, you know that feeling of excitement. Okay, and then vendor shows of 2020. So then I started in March, I did the Bizman Home Show. Now, a Bizman Home Show and bracelets. Not something I would have thought of joining. But my girlfriend is does the Bizman Home Show. Her name is Dawn Watson, if you need a connect name. And she says, Pam, I really would love for you to be a vendor at this show. I go, Dawn, your people there are buying homes, essential homes, like homes and big pieces of expensive things. I sell a $20 bracelet. Now their booths at the home show were going for $800 for a 10 by 10. But they were doing a special for Pride of Dakota. She was doing a 5 by 5 for, I think it was like 400. And so I said, I'll try it, but I need a bigger size. So she ended up giving me a bigger size because the numbers were down in 2020. So that was a good advantage of 2020. Numbers were down. So throughout my 2020 shows, I ended up getting bigger booth size because they needed more, people to fill in those for people that weren't there. So it was really, that was a nice little benefit of 2020 if we need to think of benefits. So I did have a nice 20 by 10 booth there. Now you can already see in March, setting up, I didn't have, like next to the sign, there's a blank space, and over here, that's all the jewelry on that little checkered table. That's all the jewelry I had left to sell. And it was going on that show. It was clearance, $5, everything goes. Because I was not the jewelry lady anymore. I was not the earring girl. I was not Driven Diva Designs. I was Pam Emmil, 5 Second Rule Bracelet lady. Like the lady from Malibu goes, yeah, that lady, the 5 lady. Because I'm wearing my logo. Like, she's gonna know I'm 5 something, Is that what you wanna be known for your brand? And everything that I do, I'm either pink or purple or black. That's the colors of my brand, and that's what my wardrobe consists of. Okay, so there we go. Well, that's 2020. And then my next slide. Then we do the Pride of Dakota show. So now it's just all bracelets. Behind me on the little table, that was like a new bracelet that I just launched for the holiday show. I called it my cedarwood bracelet because guys wanted bracelets, because guys would come up to my booth with their lady friends and go, hey, so you got a bracelet for men? I'm like, I do now. And it's actually my #1 selling bracelets, or my guys' bracelets. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, so we still have my signage. One thing that I also love to do, I brought rugs into my vendor booth. And when I started with my vendor booth setup, you could see I made it a walk-in, so people could walk in. One thing that you will never see in my booth is a chair. I never sit. Never sit. Thank you. And that is why I have expensive shoes. I invest in shoes. I have Sorel. In the winter, I wear Sorel boots, and in the summer, I wear Sorel sandals, and that's it. And I even brought some really cute heels just to wear it because I wanted to feel all pretty, but these are so much more comfortable. So see, there's my Sorel sandals in the picture, and that's December, because remember, December of 2020, it was like 60 degrees out. Remember that? It was like super warm. So I love bringing in like, a rug. I got it on clearance, and I got some little placemats, so when people are looking at my jewelry, they could be, it was a little bit of a cushion. You want to get the senses involved when people are shopping at your booth. If they're on the cushion, like, oh, this feels good, and they're touching my product, they're hearing what I'm saying. The cedarwood bracelets have a scent to them, so we really want to incorporate your senses. Okay, and then little decorations, but you don't want to like over decorate, because then people want to start buying your decorations. And you're like, I'm not selling Christmas trees, I'm selling bracelets. Okay. So vendor shows of 2021. So the next one that I did was the big one, the spring show up in Minot. Who's done the big one? The big one is the big one. The big one. If you're not doing the big one show, I highly recommend it. So now what it is, you walk into my booth. I have, again, you're not going to see any chairs. When I go to a vendor show, I say I don't want any tables and I don't want any chairs. And they're like, are you sure? Yes, don't give me any, just give me my little spot. What I did do is I brought in like a high top table, so that's like my little checkout, so I could stand, and then when women come up, they can put their handbag so it's level to them, because I hate like bending over. So that was really nice. This sign right here asked me about the 5-second rule bracelet. The most stupidest sign you will see. To you guys as vendors, you're like, yeah, I know why you're doing it. It is so silly. So people will walk by my booth, and I'm always, walking around my booth or standing in front. And the people that don't come into my booth, what are they doing? They're walking by, and they're reading the sign. Ask me about the 5-second rule bracelet. Oh, excuse me, do you want me to tell you about my bracelet? They just read it out loud, so I'm going to talk to them. I figure if you're in front of my real estate, I'm going to be talking to you because I've paid for this. You're in front of my house, I'm going to talk to you. And then I have a postcard, got them done through Vistaprint, where it has a picture of my products, and I say, can I tell you about my bracelets? And I hand them the postcard, and they take the postcard. And then I'm using the postcard too. I have it in my hand, and I tell them that my bracelets are made out of pink zebra jasper. Look on the back of your card, it tells you what the gemstone helps with. And then I offer 5 other gemstones, and they're all listed right here. My website's here. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they would walk in, and then they're like, okay, rose quartz, that's the pink. Okay, then they can look at the card and see the product. Again, sensory. Then they have this, it goes in their bag, and it goes home with them. And then without fail, the next week, I get lots of website orders from the town I was just in, whether they didn't get it then or they picked up this card. So these cards fly. They're very inexpensive to get through Vistaprint, and I don't even use the postcard style. It's not even called a postcard. You use the cheaper one. I forget what it's called, but it's even cheaper than the postcard. So make sure you're handing them stuff with your stuff. You paid a lot of money to be there. And if they're walking by your place or coming into your booth, give them something to take. But that sign that asked me about the 5-second rule bracelet, I tell you, it gets them all the time, right? Because they're talking to me, so I'm going to answer. Yeah, sure, let me tell you about it. And then I have like a little white table on the side. That little white table has been very handy. I got it at Hobby Lobby. They always have them. It's like $35. And I do a lot of different things with that table, and I can manipulate that table in a lot of different directions. So it's a pretty easy setup, just a lot of pegboards, 1 6-foot table, and then the tall table. And then I do outside vendor shows, and so I invested in a tent. I did buy my tent at Walmart, and I got the commercial tent. This was a show that I did up in Minot, and it was a taco fest. So then I changed my decorations to go with the theme, and it was an outside show. One thing that I learned that my pegboards like to blow in the wind, so I have to like buckle those down and stuff. But again, you can still see that I'm inviting people into my booth, okay, to walk in. I have a little table and a chair, but I never sit in the chair. Never sit in the chair. And then the Super Bowl of all vendor shows happened in 2021. Can anyone guess what the Super Bowl of vendor shows is for me? State Fair. The North Dakota State Fair. I have arrived, mic drop, I can leave the building. Like that was like huge for me to be able to do the state fair. And you guys, it's really not that, it's not that expensive. I think it's only like $400 and you're there for 10 days. So I thought it was gonna be a lot more expensive to be a part of it. It's not. All right, so this is the vendor show that literally changed my business. So if anyone needs to like stretch or do anything right now, this is the time to do it because this is when it gets really good. Anyone need to stretch? Are we good? I know it's the end of the day, it's nap time. Okay. All right, so practice setting up. Before I ever do a show, how many of you guys do this? You go in your garage or in your yard when it's nice and set up your vendor shows. You get your tape measure and you put things down. So you're like, okay, it's a 10 by 10 and this is exactly how I can maneuver my material and this is exactly where I can put stuff. So pre-setting up is so important. Another thing to do is take pictures. When you finally set something up, take pictures of it because you do change it a lot of times before you get to your final destination. So take pictures of what you want it to look like so you can flash back and remember, because when you get to a show and you're excited, my brain usually is running on fatigue because I'm not sleeping the nights, going to a show. But anyway, take a picture. So as you can see, I've got, this setup going on. And then one thing that I did get a new banner that goes above that has the gemstone bracelets pictured and then the meanings of them. So what was on this card is now on a banner. Instead of having my name, who cares about my name? Let's get my product up there and then throw my website up there. So it's really nice that people can look at the banner and then look at my the beads, the bracelets. So that's a new addition. Okay, so here we are up at the State Fair. Isn't that pretty? You can applaud. I know you're excited for me. I know. So here we go. I've got a 8-foot table, a 6-foot table, and then that's like a little 4-foot table. Got my tall top. Now the thing about the State Fair is you have 10 feet across this way, and then going out 4 feet, you can have it up to 10 feet, but then it's got to drop down to 4 feet. And I asked them, I go, what is the meaning of that? Because when I do Pride of Dakota shows, you saw all of my pegboards lined up. And they said what they want to do is, so when you're looking down the aisle, they want to make sure that everybody can see everything. Because don't you know, like when we're at shows, your stuff does get blocked off sometimes from your next door neighbor. So at first, this really drove me nuts because I had to rechange my whole setup. I couldn't bring all of my pegboards now. So now I had to figure out how to use a table, which I've never used before, to display my bracelets. So as you can see on the picture over here, on the right side, I have some shelving that I got, and I'll show you some pictures closer later. So I just did some shelving to bump stuff up. Again, it's all walk through and look. So okay, Friday the show starts. So Friday, okay, did pretty good. Saturday, did over $1,000 in sales. Yes. Right? I got $1,000. Sunday, the first 3 hours, guess what happened? Nothing happened. Not one person came into my booth. Not one person bought a bracelet. Nothing happened. My neighbors are selling like crazy. People are walking by. It's not like the traffic wasn't there. And I'm standing there twiddling my thumbs. I'm like, and saying some other choice words too. I was like, what is going on? So my neighbor was Bill. He sold a bath salt from the Himalayas. His wife had a skin problem. Like, we all sell something because it solves a problem for us, right? And it's something that we love. His love was bath salts. It helped his wife with her skin condition. And he's a retired Marine, and now they have $1 million salt bath business out of Missouri. And I said, Bill, why am I not selling anything? Like, I'm getting a little nervous. And he's like, can I be honest with you? And I'm like, yes, please, I'm here to learn. This is like, I'm all new to this. And he said, this isn't like your regular craft show. This is a pitch show. I said, excuse me, he's a pitch. People are pitching their product. And when I am like this, I am running around my little booth like a chicken without a head. I'm like welcoming people over here. I'm welcoming people over here. I'm going back and showing people the bracelets. If I had a map of how I work in my little booth, and he goes, you have to pitch people your product. People aren't going to come in because they're going to feel like they have to buy your product. I said, well, people in North Dakota love the way I do my booth. It looks pretty and I make money. Like, I'm selling my bracelets. I have not ever had a bad show. And he goes, walk around the show and then come back. I'm like, okay. And I did have a helper. I had one of my daughter's helper. I have 2 adult daughters, and so I asked one of my daughter's girls to come help. So she stayed in the booth, and I walked around. Because normally as a vendor, we're by ourselves, and we can't walk around. We can't see what other people are doing. And everyone was pitching. Everyone had their table in front of them, and everyone's standing behind their table pitching their product. And I was like, hot diggity dog, wow. Even one lady, she had her table up on like bed risers. She had a light system. She had a microphone and everything. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do sometime. But it was like a light bulb moment. So quickly, right during the show, I changed my vendor setup. Right during the show, because you know what? I wasn't selling anything anyway, so what was I going to lose? Nothing. So after all that time and planning, we changed it, and don't I look exhausted from the 3rd day? I'm totally wiped out. So then we changed it. So now I have my product on the front table, and I'm standing behind my table. And then I have my little white table with bracelets. I had my larges and smalls on that table. And then the checkout table was over here on the left-hand side. That's where we'd package up the bracelets. But on the back of on the boards were my charm bracelets. And what I also did, normally I would only hang 1 bracelet on a hook. For the state fair, I would hang 5 to 10 bracelets. I got longer hooks. So instead of, because normally I have 6 boards, but now I could only do 2 boards, and I had to flip the boards. Since I couldn't have them up and down, I had to use them sideways now for space. So I got longer pegs so I could put more product on the pegs. So people then I would talk to the people, and then if they wanted the charm bracelet, they could come around. So there I stood, and it was awesome. It was so nice. I wasn't running around like a chicken anymore. I was standing here the whole time, and people would come up. I'm like, hi, can I tell you about my bracelets? Great. Okay. And I hand them my postcard, give them my quick little spiel, and then I could point to everything right there. Again, not walking all around my booth. It was a light bulb moment. So then after the first day, I went on Target.com and ordered what a lot of you guys already have, but one of those comfy little mats that you put under your feet, game changer. So the rug didn't fit anymore, or I think we did. I still have the rug, but it wasn't as comfy because now I'm on it the whole time. So I did get some foot things, kitchen things, so those were good. But it was huge. So I missed 3 hours of sales that day, and I closed that day in $2,000 worth of sales. Yeah. Okay, you can clap again. I couldn't believe it. I seriously could not believe it. I'm like, this is crazy, just by moving the table. It was crazy. I still can't believe it. So I never went back to that old setup. So as you can see here, I have tablecloths that I have. So, and over here, can you guys see the tables over here? This might be a good time to stand up. Let's all stand up, and if you need to come over here to these little tables, please. So this is the way my vendor show normally looked, right? Where you walk in. Okay, so now we just move the tables. Could I have you, sir, help me move this table back again? You helped me before, or maybe I think I got it. Maybe, yeah, I got it. I'm a vendor lady, I can do everything. Okay, so now I'm just standing behind the table, just like da-da-da-da-da. So then my friend did tell me, he goes, one nice thing that you want to try to do is get an end spot at a vendor show so you have more property at your real estate, okay? So I did try that once, and I had the end spot. And then, but I do a 10 by 20 booth now. I've outgrown a 10 by 10. And that did not work for me because I'm by myself. And my checkout stand is here with the table that comes out here, so I can't see behind me. But for some of you that have more people or a product that isn't as easy to just walk away with a bracelet, getting end space is going to be really good for your real estate. So again, like when you go to your show, tablecloths. I have seen people with plastic tablecloths. I've seen people with vinyl, linen, cotton, whatever, just fabric. Invest in your tablecloths. One investment that I did on Amazon, I got the tablecloths that cover, that attach to the legs. So it's smooth, so you can put all of your stuff underneath in storage and nobody sees it. If I put all of my bags underneath this table now, you would be able to see it because it's open. But on Amazon, you can get packs of 2 under $20. And they wash really good, and they don't take up much space at all. I actually use them like for buffers, for traveling. So then what I did is I just invested on it with a tablecloth from Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby is a great store for us vendors because everything's 40% off when you wait a couple weeks, because it's always, everything goes on sale. So in the beginning, I have my purple tablecloths. And then I was so thankful, as you can see underneath my booth, underneath the black boards, is a black tablecloth. Do you see that? I started with a black tablecloth. You might have seen in pictures before, so I just still happen to have that. Because I was in, I think, the Hoofs Fest building up at the Minot State Fair, and it's that blue and yellow curtain. Does not go with my color purple. So before I had that black cloth, the blue and the yellow curtain showed, and it looked so ugly. So I was so thankful I had another tablecloth on hand. So please get a bunch of tablecloths and just have them on hand, because you can always then hide other things, you know, that are behind you. So you guys can sit down now. Thank you so much for just getting up and walking around. All right. So then we got the new setup in the fall. So now, like I said, I'm doing 20 by 10 spaces. This is in Dickinson at the Pride of Dakota Dickinson show. And so what I do is I have, it looks like this but reversed, like the L. So I have a 10-foot table and like a 6-foot table, and then the L over here. And then I have my iPad, and that's where I check out. So people aren't checking out in the lane of the traffic. That's going to be where they're looking at my bracelets, and then it's off to the side. And then my charm bracelets, then they can just walk in and freely look at those. But my majority of my sales come from my non-charm bracelets. So my majority of sales come from everything that I'm in control of up at that front table. And then that's what it looks like on the other side. And there's the ask me about the 5-second rule sign. And then here I am at the downtown Bismarck Street Fair. So before, when I was outside, I always had my boards, just 6 boards, you know, hanging up. No more boards like that hanging. Put the table out front. And I did have my checkout stand in the back. And we had the 4-foot table back there, and that worked out really nice for the people to just go in the back. And of course, I did have help at that show. I wish I could do a bigger show outside, but I don't have another tent. I'm not going to invest in another tent, and you know. Sometimes when there is a lot of people at your booth, that's a good thing because people are there. And when people are walking by outside or inside, and they see a lot of people at your booth, people are going to be hanging around because they're like, what's going on at that booth? You know, so having a lot of people at your booth is okay, you know. And then I've had people say, well, your booth was so busy. But so I had to come back because I had to see what you had too, so that's okay. And if they don't come back, then they just weren't meant to be your customer that day. And then what I did, through, again, this man, Bill, that I was next to, he said, yeah, your stuff looks good, because he was critiquing my setup for me when I asked him politely to. He says, you need to brand everything. And so the tablecloth, I just put on the 5-second rule bracelet. Again, remember, I have a Cricut machine. So with my handy dandy Cricut machine, I was able to put on a reflective vinyl, as you can see here. And I'll just show you real quick how nicer it looks now when you just throw a tablecloth on. So before, you got a black tablecloth. And then look at how much nicer that looks. And again, the black is going to be all the way down to the ground. And it just adds, okay, she's the purple girl, it's the tablecloth. People are going to start going, the checkered tablecloth, 5-second rule lady, bracelet lady. It works. It's been wonderful. Another thing that I do with my tablecloths, and I'll show you in a picture, I pin my tablecloths, because tablecloths, they get all loosey-goosey, Just grab some pins and just pin them. And it just makes your table just look very sleek in design, and then people aren't, tugging them when they're walking by or picking up their materials. Everything's pinned down. So as you can see on the side of the table, I pin that corner. And then in the middle right here where the two cloths are, I pin that down too. So everything's pinned, so nothing can, slide or walk off. And then I have now the 5-second rule bracelet on the tablecloths. You can see my tablecloths go down to the bottom, the black, and then I have all my stuff underneath there, because you're not like you can go bring it out to your car to stay. You need to have it there for pickup. And then I've got my big vinyl vertical behind me now. And then I just stand right behind these two tables, and then people can freely go over to the charm bracelets. I had my t-shirts designed by a vendor. I was at the Bismarck Apple Fest, and this is called, someone might hear, subliminal, something, I don't know, it's something, does anyone know what it's called? Sublimation, thank you. It's subliminal, all right. It's like 5-second rule, right? So I just asked the girl next to me, I really liked her, I'm like, hey, can you make me some t-shirts? We want to support other vendors, and you all can find someone who makes t-shirts, right? You can all find someone to slap on a decal on a tablecloth, because we all work together. And so I had her make a bunch of shirts, and I've actually had some customers, because I would make my own shirts with my Cricut, and people would ask, oh, are you selling your shirts? I'm like, you want a piece of me? Like, what? You want one of my shirts? Like, I never thought anyone would want to walk around with 5-second rule bracelet t-shirts. So I had her make a bunch of shirts, and it's really nice, so I don't have to worry about my clothes. I love to look good. These pants were $3 clearance pants from Walmart. The most expensive thing that I do is invest in my shoes. And now I have a t-shirt that has my logo. I have two different designs, a purple and then a tie-dye. And it was simple. I started with the Vistaprint t-shirts, and then I upgraded to the ones that I've made, and now I'm being able to have someone make them for myself. So, you start off and you just keep growing, but it's nice. So whenever you see me, I'm gonna have a 5-second rule bracelet t-shirt on, and you're gonna know me, oh, that's the bracelet lady. Even though I love to get all dressed up and wear cutesy clothes because I work at home and this was really fun to get out, but I'm gonna show you who I am, right? This stuff is important. And then here we are at the Pride of Dakota show at Christmas. And again, you can see how I pinned my tablecloths. I do love to decorate. I've got some Christmas trees. I found some purple poinsettias at Menards. And so many people would come up to me and say, oh my God, where'd you get those poinsettias? I felt like saying sponsored by Menards, but they didn't give them to me for free, so I didn't say that. But just having some fun things, people literally would stop. Where'd you get the poinsettias? And then I would go, oh, can I tell you about my bracelets? Oh, sure. You know, so it's just kind of fun. The week before the Pride of Dakota show, I actually rented a store in the mall, at the Kirkwood Mall. It was the Foot Locker storefront, and I had my own store for a week. So I was there the Wednesday before Thanksgiving for Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, moved out on Thursday right to Pride of Dakota. And when I was in the store, I felt like I had to fill it up with more decoration stuff because, you know, I had bracelets, but I'm filling a store. And literally people would come in and say, how much is a Christmas tree? I'm like, I am a bracelet store lady. Where do you say Christmas tree stuff? So like I said, be careful about how you decorate. Just put a little pieces. I always like to have like some motivational quotes, nice little signage, things that kind of go with who you are and go with your brand. But don't worry about going overboard. And now I have two big signs now in the winter months. I have the 5-second rule bracelet. It says finding your strength within, and then just a big 4 pictures. And then again, the signage on the curtain that talks about the gemstones. And again, those are visual things that your customers will see repeatedly. Oh, there she is, there he is. Make your booth stand out. What I also like to do too is try to, if we can, say, hey, can I be in around the same spot that I was last year? If you really like that spot, When I do the big ones, I'm kind of always in the same spot because your customers start to know, like, oh, they're over here, so they don't have to go trying to find where you are. And I did have an end spot here, but I also had help for this show. And I did because I love how we can go in and select our booth now. Did you guys like that feature? So thank you, Pride of Dakota. I love how we can go in and select where we want our booth. That was awesome. So I love that. Okay, so I also, again, still have the floor mats, and people would ask me, where did you get the floor mats? I'm like, Big Lots. So there's Pride of Dakota. There's more of my bracelets. With my bracelets, I have little chalkboard signage. Got the chalkboards at Michael's. And then I just write down, what they are. It's, simple, but again, it tells people what they are. And then I have little tags on each of my bracelets, and I'll show you those in a close-up picture in a little bit. Because everything should be priced. So vendor show displays. So again, my number one thing is that 5-second rule sign that asks me about 5-second rule sign. Gotta love my sign. And then this wrought iron shelf. I got this up in Minot at Home Goods. I needed more space when I got up to the Minot show, so I ran to Home Goods. And this was so cool because the shelves collapse, so it just lays flat in my car, which is nice, because how for packing we need things that lay flat. And so this was a great add-on piece that I could then put other bracelets and stuff on. And then again, I love my little white table from Hobby Lobby. I then took the pegboards and put a little shelf on the pegboards, and then just put little plates with my little anklets. That was for the state fair. And that was really nice. So it gave me height, and then it just breaks it up. You can see that, right? So how I get my materials. So the shelving that you saw where my products were on, those are just shelving from Menards. And they're under $15, under $10 for just the shelf. There's different, you can get natural wood, white wood, whatever. Crates to create height. The pegboards I got at Menards and at Lowe's. And the first time I didn't know, but they will cut the pegboards for you at no charge. I know Lowe's will. And you don't want to paint, you want to spray paint, because paint will chip, spray paint will stay on better. And I didn't know that at first. At first my husband was cutting them, and then we were painting, and so learn from my mistakes. They will cut and you spray paint if you need any pegboard signage. So supplies for vendor shows. All right, so one is my Wi-Fi hotspot, which is actually right here. And during the Malibu presentation, the lady said, oh, I wanted to show you something we didn't have Wi-Fi. I ran home and got my Wi-Fi card, and then they told me we did have Wi-Fi. But this is so important. I always use my own Wi-Fi device. This is just through Verizon. It costs $9.99 a month because now I know all my credit card processing is secure. I have a stand, so it tells everybody what credit cards I accept. And then I have my point of sale service is through my iPad. I am a Shopify customer, and I know some people had some questions about Shopify in the meeting this morning. You forget who asked the question about, like, if you have a website, can you get it over to Shopify? I used to have a Wix website. I had GoDaddy, I had Wix, and now I'm Shopify, and I absolutely love Shopify. I just pay $89 a month, and it is worth every dime. It's a nice presentation. I use a free theme. You can go to my website right now, and that's a free theme. I'm in the process right now of doing my product descriptions, and I am paying for a theme, so because I'm ready to do more things. But I start off for free themes, $89 a month, and then with Shopify, you get your own charge card processing. So I process all my payments through Shopify. So when people come up to me at my booth, they're like, I say, oh, do you want a text receipt? They're like, oh, I should be in your system. I'm like, no, this is Shopify. It's super secure. So I'm using my Wi-Fi and my Shopify. It's not like Square, or the other things where it just generates their phone number. This is all my system through Shopify. Super, super secure. And I've had times, I had times where my credit card machine just decided to break on me. One thing, I learned from my mistakes, I don't know if any of you have the credit card machine where it has a little docking station, and then you put the credit card machine in the docking station. I just kept that charged all the time. I just keep it plugged throughout the show. Well, I overcharged it, so it broke. So during the big one, my credit card machine just broke on me, so I had to manually enter everyone's credit cards. But one nice thing about Shopify, they charge me more to manually, put them in. Okay, so another thing that we need is that fatigue mat. That you can get those at Target, Amazon, Walmart, the fatigue mats for your feet. These are just little displays. I got these at the Target dollar store. Again, so when you're making your booth, you do not lay things just flat. I don't think anyone here just throws their stuff on the table, but you want to create little heights and sections and bowls and little silver trays and little things that people get excited to look at, like, oh, what's in there? What's over here? And have your products nicely displayed. And those were I think $4 at Target. USB plug, that is a plus, and I found it in purple. How cool is that? I was so excited when I found that. So I have that right next to my checkout. I used to always have my credit card machine charged in, but I have my phone, it's ready to go. I also have lights. That's another important thing. I would clip the lights on top of the pegboards, and the lights just made such a difference, and the lights are a USB plug. So it's nice to have a USB plug that you can add more USB cords into it. But lighting, you want to make sure you have, I'm sure just like myself, you've gone to shows and the lighting is horrible, and you're like, I can't even see my own product. These little lights are so good. I got on Amazon, they're 2 for $15. So worth it. And even at the Civic Center, the lighting is really great. My bracelets really shine under those Civic Center lights, but when I just put on another little light, boy, does it just really shine. And people literally will stop by my booth because they see the Aurora stone and oh, that's just so sparkly. So lighting is so important. So price tags, have all of your items priced. And if you can't do all of them, say you're selling stickers or things that go in a basket, put a nice clear sign, $5 stickers, $5, whatever it is. Make sure it's contained in one little box. But I have, what I did is I got pins. I just thought it looked a little bit nicer than the thing, which is 5 minutes left. Okay, thank you. I just thought the pins looked nicer than the stringy things. And I take these tags off of my bracelet when I sell it, and I recycle the tags. Through Shopify, it gives me an instant barcode, and I know you guys had questions about barcodes in the other show. So all of my inventory is barcoded and it's inventoried on through Shopify. And so I have my bracelet, rose quartz, $20, and it's number 302. And then I take that that tag off, and then I have a little bag, a little brown bag that I tape right next to my checkout. So then I just throw the ticket in there. So then I also then can count my inventory, and then I can double check it against my computer inventory as well. So that's really nice. And then for the next, when I tag it again, I just print out another label and then stick that label on there. So I am recycling those tags. And again, I got those all on Amazon. What not to do at a vendor show.
This is Robert Strong reporting for Smart Media Solutions. I'm here at the IAEE Expo 2014, Los Angeles, California.
I don't know if I can get it louder.
For trade show people. These experts know trade shows, and they know how important it is to be professional 100% of the time. When you're walking by other people's booths, what's the worst behavior you've seen by a trade show exhibitor ever? Sleeping in the booth?
I've seen that.
Somebody picking their nose? Somebody opening their bag, taking all of the tchotchkes and sweeping them into their bag and walking away.
Not being open to meet new people.
Sit in the back of the booth and not be engaged with the attendee.
Talking to each other and ignoring the customers.
That is terrible.
Well,
It's so bad that I bet nobody ever does that.
I would hope that.
Have you ever done that?
Me, no. I have.
You have?
I have reverses. Sitting down, eating, and reading a book.
You say sitting down with your back to the floor, working on a laptop, talking to each other with their backs turned.
Seen this.
With people walking by, you paid so much for the booth. They're sitting there, they're texting, they're talking. What's the worst thing you've ever seen in a trade show booth by exhibitor?
I would say breaking down early.
Hate that.
Why is that so bad?
Because our show closes at 3, not 9 in the morning.
People going from one booth and dragging people over to another booth.
Poaching from other people's booths. So when you see people engage in conversation, kind of working your way into that conversation and trying to direct them to your booth.
What's the worst behavior you've ever seen on the trade show floor?
Everybody on their cell phones in the booth, for sure.
On the phone with potential people going by, not good. People texting each other while they're in the booth ignoring the customers.
I can't do that.
People that are here and around them, looking at their phones, looking at their iPads. You know, you're here face to face to meet with people. This is the time to do it.
I'd say one of the things I commonly see is exhibitors on their cell phone looking bored and not present, and I think that's one of the biggest mistakes you can make as an exhibitor. You should try and engage the attendees as they walk by and start the conversation.
We're a face-to-face industry. We're a face-to-face business. People want to do business with someone that they can speak to and have that interaction. And you're not going to get that by sitting in the back of the booth with your arms crossed, not engaged. You have to engage.
There's nothing more that just makes my heart so sad when people are just sitting in the back of the booth and they come up to me at the end of the show and go, "Oh, this show just stunk." I'm like, "Really?" You know, I mean, you need to be engaging with your people. Okay, let me just get that turned off. So, oh goodness gracious, did I just go all the way back? See if I can get it. What is, while I do this real quick, what's like the worst thing you guys have seen at a vendor show? Just shout it out. What's the worst thing you've ever seen? Yep, just sitting there. One of my shows I did, I had a guy, he was watching a football game on his cell phone. I said, "Why are you here?" Yeah, so then again, these were just points that I had that I'm not going to have time to go through. Just really everything that we've really talked about here. Let me just get to my last slide. Utilizing fabric. Price tags, making sure everything's priced. After the event, look around. Take a look at other things. That's one thing I never did until the state fair. Remember, having a booth simple. And one thing too is, when you're selling something, make sure that you're selling, that people understand what you're selling. I've seen show people, they have so many different things. I really think I'm walking into, the dollar store. I don't know exactly what they're selling. So make sure that you're selling the product that you love. And then talking about social media, I always do a thank you post on my social media, like, "Thank you, Fargo. Thank you, Minot. Thank you, Bismarck." You can always do a thank you note because it goes out to your customers. And also, too, make sure that you're posting on your social media where you're going to be. Have it out there. Create an event page on Facebook where you're going to be. And again, all of these designs are through canva.com. If you would like to get, thank you, my Pride of Dakota friends. If you'd like to get this slideshow, because it was so awesome, I know. This is a nice little QR code. You can get those for free. And you can scan that. You can take out your phones, put it up, pretend you're taking a picture. It'll say open up in Chrome, and then you can have the rest of my slideshow on your cell phone, and you can take me home with you. This is a really cool thing, too, having a QR code to be able to get people's email addresses. I mean, there's just so many great things you can do. Follow me on social media. Follow my journey, because I'm crazy. I never sleep, and I like to post. But right now, I'm not even posting because I'm so busy doing my product descriptions. Thank you very much.